Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my December 2019 stats. So I needed to do this one before I do my year-end one, which I am in the middle of putting that together. So we're going to talk about the reading stats that I got for December and all the things that I track that are on my nifty little cheat sheet. So here we go. We're just going to go into it. So for the month of December, I finished 13 books. 9 of them were physical, 1 was an ebook, and 3 were audiobooks. So it was kind of a mix of a month, which was cool. I did not read any graphic novel this month. I had one from a friend of mine I was supposed to read, which I didn't. So I'll probably read that in January. I have one coming from the library in January. I don't have it yet. So nothing showed up in December for me. So I didn't read any graphic novels or mangas. Rereads. I had 3 rereads. So 2 of them I counted pages on. One was an audiobook and 2 were physical. One was one I hadn't read in 9 years. The other one I hadn't read in I don't know when I read the other one. The other one was a couple of years. And then the other one, the one I did not count pages, was one I actually have reread once already this year. So of course I didn't reread. I didn't count those pages. But that's that's still a pretty good rereading considering what I read this month. So how many DNFs did I had? I had 3 DNFs. I had 1 nonfiction left over for Nonfiction November that I just decided I wasn't enjoying enough to continue, and then 2 that you'll see as my disappointments this month. Fiction. Historical fiction, actually. Number 5 is how many were on my TBR for this month. I had 5 books on my TBR, and 3 of them I completed. One of them, I never received the book, so technically it was on my TBR, but I never got it, so it doesn't really count that I didn't get to read it. And the other one, as I said, I just didn't get to it, so bummer. My percentages are so bad on what I put on my TBR sometimes. And then how many were from my shelves and how many were from the library, and I'm talking physical books. So of the physical books, 8 of those were mine and 1 came from the library. And then how many did I have when I crossed over the month that I was currently reading? And I had nothing. I completed the last book in the evening of December 31st, so I didn't count anything crossing over. So, yay! So, doesn't always happen. I usually don't have a problem with things crossing over. Just I tried to finish. I read a short book at the end, and that worked out. So again, I'm starting January. I do have a book from June that I did not complete that was on my TBR. So it's technically but I'm not still reading it because I think I'm going to reread the beginning because I don't remember. It's been 6 months now and I don't remember. So, but hopefully I'll get to that book sometime in 2020. Anyway, so how many books did I buy this month? Now, remember, I've been really counting these and trying to figure out how to deal with my book buying issues. I only bought 5 books, which is awesome. Now, I didn't read any of those 5 books, so all 5 are on my TBR. But, I read over 10 books in order, to cover that I bought books. Anyway, so it worked out with my little system. Anyway, so again, I bought 5 and they're still on my TBR, but hopefully all the numbers will be low in 2020, but we'll see what happens. Number 9 is, no, that was how many I read. So number of pages read. I read 3,215 pages for the month. That comes out to an average of 103.7 pages a day. So it's above what I want to be. I want to always be 50 pages a day on average or above. Anytime I hit over 100, I'm ecstatic. That's good for me. I know some people do a lot more in a day, but my reading fluctuates a lot because I do a lot of rereading. I don't always count the pages, especially if it's a book I read this last year or 2. So most of the time I don't count them, but as I said, my reading fluctuates. So 103.7 on average per day in the month of December where I worked a lot of overtime and there were all the holiday stuff, I think I did pretty well. Anyway, so my star ratings, I found this very interesting. I gave out 7 5-star reads in December. I was not, when I counted it, I was a little surprised, but the books that I read, a few of them, like, I totally see why I gave 5 stars, no problem. And then there was like 1 or 2 that I might have bumped up a little bit because I don't do half stars. I pretty much just follow the Goodreads and have my own little brain of how I put those together. But so I still gave I gave out 7 5 stars. That's probably the highest percentage this whole year. I'm pretty sure that is. I'm still stunned that that was that many. I had 4 stars. And then I had 1 3-star and 1 2-star. I didn't have anything that I hated that I completed, so that's still pretty good, right? I still can't get over this 7 5 stars. That's pretty awesome, actually. So the genres that and again, a couple of those were rereads, but 2 of them, but still, I like it. Anyway, I just realized that. I'm like, darn it. Anyway, still really good. 5 stars. Anyway, so the genres I read was fantasy, I read 1. Science fiction, I read 3. I read 2 classics. I read 1 nonfiction history. I read 2 general nonfiction, memoirish. And then I read 3 historical fiction romances and 1 mystery. So, it was, I think I had a pretty rounded month of reading. It was kind of all over the place. So I'm going to show, so then it says what's my favorite book of the month. I have 2, and I'm going to show 2 of them. One is nonfiction, one is Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson, a story of justice and redemption. This was such a powerful read, completely worth the 5-star reads. This was so hard to read in the way you can't believe that this actually happened somewhere in the US, and it bothers me that it does. And I think it was really well written and really opens your eyes on the justice system, and I thought it was fantastic, and I totally recommend that. But I would say my favorite of the month was That Old Scoundrel Death by Bill Kreider. Again, this is the 25th and final book in the Dan Rhodes mysteries, because Bill Kreider passed away last year, and so this is the last one I get. It was so emotional for me just because I've been following this series since the early 90s. It started being published in 1986, but I didn't discover it until the 5th book came out. So so somewhere in the early 90s. And so I've been following this series for all these years. It is just amazing that I've kept with the series this much. And again, I'm looking so forward to my reread of the whole series, which I'll be starting here really soon. But this is, again, it was such an emotional read for me because it was the last one. And then my 2 least favorite books, there was a book that got 2 stars that is technically my least favorite book that I finished of the month, but I'm going to bring up 2 DNFs that were kind of annoying. So I DNF'd The Ghost Bride by Yang Zi Chu. And again, I did not like this because it was in the first person doing that thing where, hey, if I'd known, I wouldn't have done that, or I would have said that, or I wouldn't have, you know, like that kind of whole, I hate that second guessing stuff. Like, just tell me the story. Forget telling me that things are going to go wrong because you didn't do something. I don't care about that. Don't tell the story that way. I find it very intrusive, and I've never liked that. And again, as a writer of first person POV, I never do that because I cannot stand it. Anyway, and I was really disappointed that this didn't work out. And then the other one is a book I've been waiting all year to read, which is 7 Days in May by Kim Izzo. And I just did not like how the characters, some decisions that were being made. And it was really quick in the book, and I just was like, I can't handle this. If I'm already having trouble 35 pages in, we are done. So those were my most disappointing, though I did not finish them. So, as I said, I thought those were more, and you probably saw my rant last week. Anyway, so then real quick, my journal, I want to show, so my pixels, you can see I had a couple of days where you can faintly see there's the dots for rereading, because again, I do a dot for rereading, or read for 0 pages a day. And then as the colors go up in the rainbow, you can see some days I read a lot, not so much. So this is my full year, and you can see, you know, there's not that many red overall, and a lot of the red, except for one real big section here, almost all of them have a black dot, which means that I was rereading at the time, which I just didn't count the pages. But again, yellows and greens are kind of my middle range between 50 to 150 per day. So that's pretty typical for me. And I think it looks really kind of cool. I don't know how to change this up for next year. If anybody has any suggestions on color palette on how I should change that, I'm not sure. Again, these are in by 50 page increments. I don't know, maybe I should do bigger increments, smaller, I don't know. But anyway, so that was pretty cool. I think I'll probably do it again for next year, we'll see. Or some way. Let's see here, and oops, here we go. And then my December reading, as I said, you can see I was pretty average. There's not, I mean, there's a couple days that were really small. And again, these are mostly, I was rereading in these areas. But, and then that's Christmas, because I didn't read a word on Christmas, you know. And then, so, I mean, again, it was pretty, it's a little different than some of the other ones where, you know, there's, I did really well. It's a pretty good standard. Like, I read quite a bit, even though I was working a lot. And there's holiday stuff. So that is it. I went on a little long here, guys. Anyway, so again, I'm going to be doing my year-end stats here in the next week. I have to get that all together, all the notes, all my stuff together. So I'm working on that now. Anyway, how is your reading in December? Were your numbers good? If you think there's anything you think I should switch up here or change or add, let me know, because again, we're going into the new year. I want to start having all that data to start with. So if you have any suggestions of something else I should be tracking, let me know. Anyway, that's it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.